Welcome to Uptime.com and to our tutorial on setting up an Uptime.com status page. A status page conveys information on scheduled maintenance, downtime events, and general system uptime to your site or service users. To create your first status page, click Status Pages in your user panel and select your preferred page type from the drop-down menu. You can choose between public status pages for conveying incidents and maintenance to your general site visitors, internal status pages for showing system status to your internal teams, and public SLA pages to report on specific check and site status for SLA accountability. All status page types may be made public if needed. Let's click Public Status Pages and then click Add to create a new status page. The first setup window for your new page will configure a few basic settings. Name your page, and tick the box to make the page publicly available if you wish, then create your URL path. We can further customize with a CNAME record later on in the process. This availability box is optional as any page you create can remain private. You also have the ability to make your page public or revert it to private at any time after you have created your page. Adding components at this stage is also optional. Once your page is created, your Uptime.com checks can be linked to your public status page components. You also have the option to create components that are not linked to your account checks, which is useful for representing other external assets like databases or servers. There is one difference in settings between page types. When creating either an internal status page or a public SLA page, these two page types are powered by Uptime.com checks from the beginning, which you can add when first creating the page. From our Checks Available menu, we can add our Uptime.com account checks, or we can also use the field to locate specific checks, search checks by type, or by tag, which dynamically adds all tagged checks to your status page. Next, let's review the management page for your newly created status page, and link a check to a component that we have created. Click on the three dots next to the component and select Edit. Click Associated Checks to select your checks and determine the component status should the linked check fail. Then click Save. To add a new component, click Add Component. As in our initial page creation, we can name our component and add a description. Using the Associated Check dropdown, we can choose the check to link to our component. We can also automate a default status for the component if the check fails, ranging from no change to outage severity to maintenance. There are several conditions under which a component status can change. Account admins can manually change a component status, and the page can automatically trigger a component status change based on check state, maintenance state, or incident state. We've built out a lot of examples here, and there are a lot of checks added to our status page. To a user viewing the page, this may make information hard to find. So creating organization with groups is something that helps. To add a group, click Add Group. Once created, the group will appear at the bottom of the checks list, and we can drag it anywhere we'd like. To add components to our group, we can either drop and drag, or edit the component and select the group from the drop-down. Click the Metrics tab, and then Add to create a metric. You can add metrics by linking associated checks and ticking this box to display the metric on the status page. A system metric will display a response time graph to add visibility into performance. Each status page can include up to 10 metrics. Now that we have added metrics and created extensive performance visibility with our components, let's learn how to create and manage an incident event. Component state change can be automated but will not result in notifications to your subscribers. To update on critical system information, we use incidents. To create an incident, click the Incident tab and add an incident. The primary purpose of a status page is to update on events as they unfold, and having one can greatly cut down on the number of support tickets and negative feedback you receive during an outage. There are many customizable fields and options available when creating an incident. Give your incident a descriptive title and click the Starts field. The current date and time will automatically populate, but we can adjust if we need to by clicking on the calendar icon. For an ongoing outage, we will leave the Ends field blank and tick the box to include the incident in global downtime calculations. Using the Components Affected dropdown, we can select the affected components from the list of components that we have included in our status page. The step is optional, as you may want to create an incident for a feature not linked to an existing status page component. Once we select a component, we can confirm the severity of the outage. Then we can choose to update the components we have selected with these statuses. As this is the first update for our incident, we will select the Investigating field status from the Update dropdown. As the incident progresses, we will return to this window to submit new status updates. In the Text field, we can include any details we have regarding the outage, as well as actions we are taking, and any additional information that we would like to share to our status page subscribers. Click the Preview icon to confirm your incident is correct before sending it to your subscribers. If you have enabled subscribers, you can tick this box to notify them of the incident. When you are ready to add another update, click here to edit the incident and either update the status or resolve the incident and select to return components to their original state. Creating a maintenance event follows the same basic steps as creating an incident. Click Add or Schedule Maintenance to open the window. Selecting an end time and date is optional for creating an incident, but mandatory to schedule a maintenance window. As this is a maintenance event, we will not tick the box to contribute to global downtime. As with the incident creation, we can select our components. We will want to click the dropdown and adjust the severity to Under Maintenance and add any recommendations and notes in the field. Click to preview and select the box to update the components to maintenance status when the window begins. If desired, click here to notify your page subscribers. Click the Settings cog to adjust the global settings for your status page. Under the Global tab, you can edit the name of your page and create a description. If you need additional subscribers, you can add them from Billing My Subscription in your user panel. Click here to allow subscriptions via email and RSS to your status page, and to make sure that your page is publicly available. Create your URL slug and create a CNAME record for your subdomain. CNAME records will need to point to cname.uptime.com. If you would like to add the security of basic auth to your status page, you can create a universal username and password using these fields. You also have the options to allow search indexing or make further information available to your users by allowing them to view performance graphs and report on check-based components. Now let's configure settings for our page's current status tab. Your status page is provisioned with two optional tabs, Current Status and History and Incidents. Enabling the Current Status tab allows your status page visitors to view component status, metrics, response time graphs, and active incidents. You can use these two boxes to customize the visibility of elements on your Current Status tab by controlling the view for active incidents and the displayed tables and response time graphs. Under the History and Incidents tab is where we can configure similar settings. We can first decide whether or not to display history and incidents on our status page. We can also set the default display range, which will show our recent history in days. With this dropdown, we can define how our uptime is calculated for our status page. We have two options, incident duration or by the uptime percent of check-based components. We can also customize which summaries and graphs to display on our page, and whether or not we want to include past incidents, or if we want to enable visitors to download a PDF report of our presented history. Once you're satisfied with your settings, click Save. The Uptime.com status page is customizable in varying degrees depending on your subscription plan. Using HTML and CSS, you can integrate your page easily into your company's existing branding. To personalize, click on the Settings cog and go to Customize Look and Feel. We have two tabs to work with: our status page and our emails that will be sent to our subscribers when we create updates. For a quick and simple customization, we can easily upload a logo and a favicon to display on our page. You can also link your Google Analytics property ID. Let's pause here and see what these minor customizations do for our page by clicking Save and then the preview icon. You could stop here, or you could add additional custom HTML and CSS to really make your status page stand out and complement your company branding. Now that our page looks sharp and our components and metrics are organized and displayed, our last task is to upload any existing subscribers in bulk. To do this, click the Settings cog and then Manage Subscribers and download our subscriber list. This template provides the format for uploading your existing contact lists. Once you have finished your list, upload the file and import your subscribers. This concludes our setup walkthrough of the status pages. To answer all of your status page questions, check out our support articles on status page setup, forms and fields, or learn about use cases from each of our 3 page types in documents linked below. You can also reach out to our support team directly at support@uptime.com.